Welcome to the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show. Today, I'm going to show you how to turn all of this into a delicious plant-based zucchini lasagna.
Whole food, plant-based, it's the best thing for our taste. So pull up a chair and grab a plate, 'cause it's the all-free whole food plant-based cooking show.
So we're just going to get right into it and get started. So what I have here are some pans of zucchini that I've already mandolined, and if you look at them, it's pretty thin. And I have put them on cookie sheets lined with parchment paper because we are going to bake them a little bit first. And the reason we're going to do that is because these are the noodles. And zucchini is a really watery vegetable. So we're going to try to wick some of that water out first before we start layering our lasagna, because we don't want a soupy, watery lasagna. So I already have my oven preheated to 350. We're going to stick that in for about 15 minutes, and then we'll get on with our other stuff. Okay, so while our zucchini is baking and wicking the water out, we're going to get on with our sauce and our cheese sauce. So the first one, we're just going to make a really basic tomato sauce. And what I have here is a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes with no salt added, because this is also a low sodium recipe. Okay. And one can of, this is a 6-ounce can of tomato paste, also with no salt added. And then what I have here is I have some thyme, basil, and oregano. And we're just going to put about a teaspoon of oregano, a teaspoon of basil, and yes, I'm not measuring with a measuring spoon because I just don't, and about a half teaspoon of thyme. And we're just going to blitz this up together. And there isn't any garlic in here, but there's garlic in the rest of it, so you're going to get those flavors, and this is just a simple red sauce. So we're just going to blend this until it's incorporated together. Okay, that's as simple as that. Okay, so now we're going to make our cheese sauce. Now this is the magic, right? It is not dairy. So, and you're wondering, how do you make cheese without dairy? Cashews. Cashews are the answer to that one. So I have 2 cups of raw unsalted cashews. And if you have just a regular blender, this is a high-speed blender, so it can just pulverize those cashews, no problem. But if you have just a regular blender, you might want to pre-soak your cashews for a couple hours and drain that liquid off. Then we have a half a cup of nutritional yeast. And then we're going to put a couple good globs of Dijon mustard, about 2 tablespoons. And of course, I'm always to the bottom of my container. Not convenient at all. Okay, and then the juice of 1 lemon. And it equals about, that comes up to about 4 tablespoons, 3 to 4 tablespoons. And then here's the garlic. So 3 cloves of garlic. Then we're going to also put 3 to 4 tablespoons, I'm going to try 4, of white wine vinegar. Because I like my cheese really tart. It kind of has a nice bite to it. And then 1 cup of water. And we're just going to blend this until it's really nice and smooth. Okay, if you can see there, that is just liquid creaminess. So we're just going to let this sit here side of our other sauce, and then I'll show you how I've prepped the rest of the ingredients. So what I have here is a bunch of kale, one large bunch of kale that I've already steamed and lightly cooked. Oops, and it's still dripping here. And then I put it in the colander so that it would drain some of the liquid out, because that again is going to add to the watery part of a lasagna, and you don't want that water in there. So we're actually gonna squeeze that out a little bit just to make sure all that liquid is out. Okay, and then what I have here, I have 2 onions, 3 8-ounce boxes of mushrooms, and 1 red pepper. And I've cooked those down until the moisture is gone, also because mushrooms also are a high water content vegetable. So we're just gonna get all of that water out of there. And there's a teaspoon of smoked paprika and 2 teaspoons of onion powder and some Bragg's liquid amino acids. And the exact ingredients will be in the recipe link in the details below. Okay, so our zucchini is out of the oven. And if you can see, there's still a little bit of moisture there, but for the most part, you know, I think we've got quite a bit of that moisture out, so that's gonna help a lot. So we're just gonna start layering. And I have just a regular casserole dish here, glass casserole dish, and I'm not oiling it because we don't actually need oil in the bottom. It doesn't really stick that bad. And this is an oil-free recipe. So plant-based, low sodium, oil-free, gluten-free, just can't get any better than that. This is going to be so healthy, and it is so delicious. And if you have, just as a tip, if you have really picky little ones and they can tell and they can see this green and tell that that's not a noodle, shave your noodles first and then bake them. And then I don't really think they're going to be able to tell that that zucchini is not a noodle. So we're just going to, let's see, we're going to put a little bit of sauce on the bottom first. And you can do this any way you want. If you only want just 2 or 3 layers, only go for 2 or 3 layers. And you know, it might depend on how much zucchini you have, you know, how big the pieces are, because sometimes when you bake them, they shrink a little bit and you end up with a little less than what you thought, so you can't do as many layers. But we're just going to go with the flow here and see how many layers we come up with. Okay, so on the top, I like to pour my sauce on first, and then the last of the cheese on the top, because I think it looks so much prettier, that baked cheese. Gets all nice and golden brown. Smear that around a bit. Okay, and then for the last, the cheese. Yum, yum, yum. We have plenty of cheese for the top. I'm just going to smooth out the cheese just a little bit, give it a little bit of a pattern. And then my oven is still on, so it's still on 350. And we're going to bake it anywhere from 35 to 45 minutes. So we're just going to check it at 35 and see what it looks like. And if it's too brown, then we can take it out. But I think it's going to need about that whole 45. Looky here. So I've taken it out of the oven, and it did take the whole 45 minutes. So I took it out of the oven, and it's been sitting here for about 20 minutes. Still pretty hot, but you know, it looks like it's set up a bit better. If you try to eat it right out of the oven, it's not going to stay together very much. It kind of needs to sit and meld together and cool off a little bit. So before I dig into this bad boy and let you see what the inside looks like, if you're enjoying the show, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our great content or our great recipes. And if you want to be a part of something even bigger and get more of the behind the scenes scoop and be a part of a plant-based community and have a chance to be a part of the making of the show, follow our link below to our Patreon page and become a member of our Patreon community. All right, let's dig in. It smells so amazing. I can't wait till you guys try this one because you are just gonna be wowed. It is gonna knock your socks off. I've had a lot of vegan lasagna and, you know, raw lasagna, but this one I think I would choose every time. And it's always that, how do you get it out of the pan without it falling apart? Well, it's gonna fall apart a little bit, but look at that. It is steamy and hot, but it all comes down to the taste, right? That is so good. You are just gonna love it. So I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next time.